what's the meaning of this shloka? Why is this sometimes used during the initiation? The shloka is there printed.
Nama Shrestam Manamapi Sachiputra Trasvarupam Rupam Tasyagraja Madhupurim Maturim Gostavatim Radha Kundam Giri Varamaho Radhika Madhavasam Prapato Jasya Pratita Kripaya Sri Gurun Tanmatosmi. Now, it says, given by Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, who we note as the Prayojan Tattva Acharya, the Rupa Nuga line, who's indicating the goal, the target, emphasis, priority, all of concern, and Srila Gurudev, he mentioned that it's interesting in comparison that generally the Vaishnavas, they're not expressing that they have something, but they're portraying themselves as in need, in want. Jagai madhai hoite muise papishta, purise rakito hoite muise lagishta. Srila Kaviraj Goswami saying he is lower than, more sinful than Jagai and Madhai, lower than the worm in the stool, so many things. Deprecating, self-deprecation regarding his own position. But Srila Guru Maharaj will say that this sort of expressed negativity is the wealth of the devotees. So we see in modern culture, with social networks, that it's about self-promotion, right? Like ego assertion. Not everyone, but many. It's a type of what an author once called, Christopher Lashna, culture of narcissism. That was identified previously, the so-called me decade, or the me generation. And people have pointed out that, academics, scholars, and others, that previously young people grew up envisioning themselves as adults. That would be the desirable position, is to be an adult. And then to, make progress from there. But at a particular stage in the 20th century, maybe a little past the middle, and a strange inversion took place, where the emphasis was placed on being young, on youth culture. So you have adults wishing that they were teenagers. It used to be teenagers wish, I'll become an adult, and then now the idea was an adult to try and mimic teenagers, what they like, their way of dressing, speaking, music, everything. It's an interesting observation, to what degree it's true, or someone else can do another study. But it does have to do with egocentrism, which is an outcome of humanism. placing man at the center, what Alexander Solzhenitsyn called the disastrous deviation of the Enlightenment. So-called Enlightenment thinking dismissed divinity, right? Nietzsche, God is dead, which is, is a somewhat humorous statement because he's implying that he existed at one time. But if we want to be clever, we can say, yes, that type of conceptualization about God outlived its usefulness. And that make way for the Krishna consciousness movement and the Krishna conception of divinity to sort of rescue the day with the Aprakrita Leela, pastimes, divine form, charm, irresistibly charming personality of Krishna and infinite beauty. That's another thing. But this idea of humanism, to put man with a capital M at the center of all things and be the measure of all things, whether something is valuable or not valuable, desirable or undesirable, this will be the metric, the gauge by which to judge everything. So this, this sort of egocentric culture of narcissism is the natural outcome of humanistic type thinking, right? Just go for it, do it, you're number one because I'm worth it, all of these kind of things. They're humanistic slogans. And so that's traditionally been antithetical to spiritual culture, is self-assertion, which is otherwise known as pratishta. They say, Kana Kamini Pratishta Bhagini, in the song of Saraswati Thakur, Vaishnava K, what is a Vaishnava really? Saying that these are three obstacles on the path of the practitioner, the aspiring servitor. Kana Kamini Pratishta, wealth, women, and name and fame. Once Guru Maharaj, he was famous for these alliterative parallel expressions like dollars, diplomacy, and despotism, and the name of devotion, dedication, and divinity. 3D. It's actually 6, but 3D, just the play of 3D. But so one day he was talking about, he said, so we have, he said, can there not be 3 Fs? Like for females, Kana Kamini Pratishta, fame. He goes, what would be the F for wealth? And someone said, fortune. And Guru Maharaj said, no, the fortune's is comprehensive. It means many things. But I can only say to the recording, finance. We're searching for a third F. But anyway, these obstacles, and we're told, Kanak, wealth, Lakshmi, for Narayan. Kamini, as in Guru Maharaj's word, lady love for Krishna. And Pratishta, most commonly rendered as name and fame, for Guru. They give that to Guru. So if anyone's praising, like Gurudev, when he, perhaps it was either Bhagavad Gita or Prapanajivana, some work he did, some publication for Guru Maharaj, and he gives an introduction and he says that whatever wealth you will find here, that is from my Guru Maharaj. If you find anything wrong here, any faults, I'm responsible for that. So if there's any error, mistake, a fault, a typo, whatever it might be, that I take responsibility for. But if you find something wonderful here, extraordinary, valuable, some sort of incomparable spiritual wealth, that is my Guru Maharaj. So that's the proper way. So Gurudev pointed out, although generally the Vaishnavas are saying, whether it's Narottam Thakur, Kula Shekhar, Jamunacharya, and Guru Maharaj has these statements recorded in the Prapanna Jivanamritam, Rup and Sanatan and others. They're Prataparudra Maharaj, says the Mahaprabhu, did you come to liberate, save everyone in the world except a king named Prataparudra? And Narottam Thakur, or they'll say, I don't think you can find a more suitable candidate for your mercy than myself. It reminds me, to paraphrase a statement someone made in another context, but he said, you could put it this way: if you wanted to test the purifying power of the potency of Gaura Nityananda, how they can purify, and you ordered a trainload of the most vile sinners, you want to test the purifying power, and you ordered a trainload, and it pulled into the station, and I got off the train, you can consider your order fulfilled. So test it on me. You won't find a more, that's what they say, you won't find a more suitable test subject than myself. That's the indirect way of saying, I'm the most fallen. They just say I'm the most fallen. Gurudev, he didn't like that. Sometimes people would say this, and Bengali, and Gurudev, he's not buying it. Prabhupada either. I mean, there's a famous, Prabhupada said, but someone said when they were the most fallen, he said, allegedly said that you're not the most anything. Don't glorify yourself. Like that. And Gurudev, he had his way of letting someone was disagreeing with him on something. I was there, I was shocked, and Gurudev kept saying, no, Prabhu, he would say, you are telling that it is Father Krishna, but I am thinking it is Ma Kali. And he goes, no, Maharaj. And he argue with him again. And Guru, I know, Prabhu, you are telling it is Father Krishna, but I'm thinking it's Ma Kali. He said, Father Krishna, but I think it's Ma Kali. And the man kept persisting until finally Gurudev said, Prabhu, what can I say? It is all the will of Allah. That was his way of placement. Like the sentiments you're expressing, that's his classic way of using some apparent glorification to situate someone rightly. So anyway, but generally the Vaishnavas, they're saying something, or I like in the beginning of Prapanna Jivanamritam, and I think Sagar Maharaj translated this very nicely, where Guru Maharaj said, I am, what does he say, I'm plagued or haunted by or I crave the fame of being a poet. Right? Nadanam najanam nasundarim kavitamba jagadisha kamaye. We always hear about the Nadanam janam sundarim. Back to this again, kana kamini pratishta. But here, one that's not told often is kavita. Nadanam najanam sundarim kavitam ba jagadishagam. So he adds that besides wealth, women, followers, the prestige of a poet, to seek that. That means the arbiters of reality. It's like a high guru position. They will tell us what is meaningful, what is the purpose of life, the purpose of existence, why we should live, how we should direct our lives. The poets, right? They think they're creating something. Whereas Guru Maharaj points out, Rishi comes from Drishi. They don't say that they're Sarshti is the Sanskrit word for creation. They say observers of reality. What they've observed is passing through their consciousness into this plane in the form of mantram, expression, even ecstatic expression, or as we told here, negative expression. On account of depth of penetration into the positive, they can give vent to such a degree of negativity, as Kaviraj Goswami does in Chaitanya Charitamrita and the others I mentioned in other places. But when he says, that's about himself, and he says, but what's passing through me, there's nothing higher. Now he's glorifying Madan Mohan. Jayatam Surato Pango Mama Manda Matergati Matsarvasva Padambojo Sri Radha Madan Mohan. No. Sometimes he's saying Madan Gopal and Madan Mohan like interchangeably. But he's saying they are making my hands write these things. They're using me like a puppet to express all these things about the divine pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and there's nothing higher than that. So Gurudev points out in this sloka, in the last line, Prapto Jasya Pratita Kripaya Sri Gurun Tanmatosmi. That he's saying, what are the gifts that we get from Sri Guru? He said, here, surprisingly, he's saying, this is what I've got. Normally they're saying, I don't have. No prema gandhasti drapi me horo. I don't have a scent of the fragrance of Krishna prema, what to speak of a drop. That's the normal position expression. Here he's saying, this is what I got, being situated at the lotus feet of Sri Guru. How can he say this, risking self-glorification? He's transferring all that fame, name and fame, to the lotus feet of Guru. So prapto means I got, acquired. Prapto jasya pratita kripaya, by the mercy of Sri Guru. And so now he's outlining what are those gifts. And this is why it's appropriate at the time of initiation to say this sloka. Because he's outlining what are the gifts of Guru. You're here at the lotus feet of Guru. What are you about to receive? And he's beginning with what? Nama Shrestam. You're getting Harinam. Right? You're there. So this verse is and what type of Nam? Nama Shrestam. The best, of which there's nothing better. Nikila Shruti Moli Ratnamala. Rupa Goswami sloka. Sanatana has a parallel one, and Brihad Bhagavatamritam. But it's very beautiful. Rupa Goswami is saying, all the Shrutis, that means of all things that are to be heard. Right? Shruti means the Vedas, and by extension Upanishads. Shruti, when you say Shrota Panta, this is called, the path of hearing. That's what, for the large part, what we do is hear. Right? Stane stita shrutigadam tanuvan mano sanmukarita. Hearing from Guru and Vaishnav. Sadhu Shastra Guru Vaishnav. We're hearing Shabda Brahma. spiritual sound, God in the form of sound, really. Right? So here, Rupa Goswami saying, out of all the Shrutis, so whether you take it to be the 108 Upanishads, the Vedas and everything, or of all that is to be heard, this is the Nikhila Shruti Moli Ratnamala, means the, like if you had a mala of jewels, of sound jewels, this is the, Chudamani, the crown jewel. And so Guru Maharaj said in a very interesting way that the Shrutis, they're saying, oh, by hearing sound, you'll be liberated. He said, if they don't say that, it would be to commit suicide. So the Shrutis themselves, they're saying this, but they're saying out of all the sounds, out of all mantras, out of all things to be heard, there's nothing superior to the holy name of Krishna. Nama Shreshtam. So we're told, Nam Sankirtan Kalo Parama Upai. Particularly in the Kali Yuga, through Nam Sankirtan, taking the name of Krishna in different ways, whether on the mala or in Sankirtan, together, singing, Cheto Darpanam Arjanam Baba Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Burivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamritas Vadanam Sarvatmasnaparam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. And then the Sachiputra, that Radha Bhavaduti Subalita, Sachiputra, the son of Mother Sachi. And again, I remind that we're not hearing words like Ishvara here. Well, like Gurudev, one of the things he liked about, many things he liked about Garga Sangita, but where there's a pranam for Veda Vyas, it says, son of the fisher girl. So we're thinking, wait, Veda Vyas, Krishna Dvaipayana Veda Vyas, he compiled the Vedas. There should be some big, bombastic sloka glorifying Veda Vyas. But Gurudev, it said, son of the fisher girl. To him that means this is very intimate view of him, a very personal, up close and personal, as the saying goes. And so here, always, Sachiputra, Atra Srupam, that form, the son of Mother Sachi. Right? That will make Mahaprabhu happy, all the devotees happy. Krishna, he likes to be addressed in these ways. Yasoda Nandan, Brajendra Nandan, Gopinath, Gopendra Nandan, or Gopendra, Govinda. Madan Mohan. So, then the son of Mother Sachi, right? Swarupam Bibrano Jagatatulyam Advaita Dvaita Prapano Srivasa Janita Paramananda Gorima Harir Dinodari Gajapati Kripotseka Tarala Satchetanna Kame Punarapi Dashor Yashativadam. Rupa Goswami and double Antan. Srupam Bibram Jagatatulyam. Srup Damodar is incomparable in the world. Mahaprabhu Ditiya Kalevar. Mahaprabhu the second, his second self, his other self. But it also means that There's no one more beautiful than Mahaprabhu. Because Krishna, Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham, 10 million cupids condensed into one, points to the magnitude of the magnetic, seductive charm, beauty, and sweetness of Krishna. But Koti Kami Murchi Tangri Rupa Rasa Rangaram Swarna Koti Darpanaba Deho Varna Gauravam Padma Parijata Ganda Banditanga Saurabam Koti Kami Murchi Tangri Rupa Rasa Rangaram Prema Dama Devameva Nomi Gaura Sundaram. 10 million cupids will swoon to see the beauty of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Raso Dama Kamar Buddha Madhura Damojvala Tanur. So sweet and beautiful is his form. Jatinam Utangshas Tarani Koti Vidyoti Vasana Hiranyanam Lakshmi Varana Bhiva Angika Rucha. Covered by the heart and halo of Srimati Radharani. So Srupam Bibrano Jagatatuni, his divine form is incomparably beautiful. Radha, Krishna, Milita Tanu combined. Rupam Tasyagraja Madhupuri. And Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, his elder brother, Madhupuri. This means really Vrindavan, the land of sweetness. Take it to be Mathura, but Mathura, Vrindavan, it goes Mathura, Vrindavan, Vrindavan, Ahoite, Shrestha, Govardhana, Shaila, Gandharvika, Giridhari, Jatakrita, Koila, from Vrindavan to Govardhan, then to Radha Kunda, this type of gradation. But it's underscored by Mahaprabhu's talk with Raghupati Upadhyay. And he asked him, what is the supreme form of the Lord? The supreme abode of the Lord? The best age and the ultimate rasa. And they just met. But he recognizes, Madhavendra Puri, somebody, the type of, he knows who he's dealing with. Other people, Mahaprabhu's coy sometimes, by what he knows or doesn't know, or here, and 1, 2, 3, everything. So, Shama eva param rupam, Shama Sundar Krishna, Yam Shama Sundaram Achinta Gunas Rupam. Inconceivably beautiful. The Shama Goparup, Krishna is a cowherd boy. Puri, Madhupuri Bara, the best about Madhupuri. That all means Mathura, Vrindavan, like, the land of sweetness. Right? And also, Guru is told, Gaudiya. One way to interpret it is from gur, which is like the sweet molasses of condensed sugarcane juice. Gaudiya. So it's also the land of sweetness. Madhupuri Kai Shoram. Dhyayam. The supreme form of Krishna, Kishore. Means when he's gone from, when he's a toddler, he's with baby and toddler with Nanda and Yashoda. As he gets older, he has his pastimes with the cowherd boys. Then when he's Kishore age, his pastimes with the Braja Gopis. That's when Krishna is in his sweetest expression, and full expression of his beauty and erotic potential. Adya rasa, adi rasa means the original rasa is madhura rasa. All the others are clients or satellites of madhura rasa. It's at the center of all, contains all the elements of all of the other rasas described by Rupa Goswami and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Whatever elements are there in Shanta rasa are there, but then something's added in Dasya rasa. Whatever elements are there are found something more added, more intimate in Sakya rasa. Again, something more added in Vatsalya rasa. All of that, plus something more in Madhura rasa, and then again something more in Parakiya. The element, the forbiddenness element added, risk. Right. Now, Radha Kundam, then Radha Kunda is mentioned, Giri Baramaho, Giri Govardhan, we just spoke about that. So these sort of Radha Kundam Giri Baramaho, Radhika Madhavasam means the aspiration of Radha Dasyam to serve under the guidance of Guru in the Rupa Nuga line. An interesting parallel in Guru Maharaj's pranam for Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat. Srimad Chaitanya Saraswata Matabara Udgita Kirtir Jaya Srim Bibrat Sambati Ganga Tata Nikata Navadipa Kaladi Raje Yatra Se Gora Saraswata Goragata Granati. This one. Nityam Rupa Nuga Sri Kritimati Guru Gauranga Radha Jitasa. Saying to serve Nityam Rupa Nuga in the Rupa Nuga line with this Radha Jitasa, here expressed by Das Goswami as Radhika Madhavasam, an aspiration for that service, expressed elsewhere by Das Goswami and Bilapa Kusumanjali. Asha, that means divine aspiration. Asha Bore Amrita Sindhu Mai Katanchit Kalo Mayati Gamita Kila Sampratamhi Tam Chet Kripa Mai Vidasha Jinaiva Kimme Prane Brajema Brajena Chabororu Bakarinapi. He's saying, and this aspiration, this is what gives my life meaning. It makes my life meaningful. It's why I continue to live. Right? Is this aspiration for this service, means Radha Dasyam in the Rupa Nuga line. He said, without which my life is of no value, and what's more valuable than my life, Vrindavan, is of no use to me. And although it's a shameful thing to say, Krishna without you is dreadful, unapproachable, of no interest to me. So how guru-centric expression, saying, what would be my necessity? And there's no service necessity for me in a plane without being under the shelter of a superior servitor. As he says elsewhere in the same composition, Dashayate mama sastu satyam sakayame mama namostu nityam. My concentration will be on the least aspect of service, dasyam, and without any consideration or hankering for here intimacy. Said, and Guru Maharaj extracts from this, not to, without being under the guidance of a superior servitor, what would I have no business in that plane. And again, Das Goswami is the Prayojan Tattvacharya. He's saying this is the way to move, to navigate spiritually. And we see, contrary to that, the most neophyte practitioners, if you want to be generous, in the Krishna consciousness movement, the most newly connected, what Guru Maharaj calls new recruits, they're expressing these very high aspirations in that plane. Certainly, they'll be there, if not today, tomorrow. Right? Whereas Das Goswami, who's descended from that plane, is showing this very modest aspiration and the greatest appreciation for the least connection with that plane. That's why when Saraswati Thakur was lecturing in Puri and talking on some very high topic, and then someone interrupted the talk with some business necessity, whether marketing or otherwise, and Saraswati Thakur stopped his talk to deal with that. And Guru Maharaj was a little annoyed at the time, and he said, oh, why are they, at this time, Prabhupada is talking, and they're bothering him with these trivial things. And he said, but he came to understand that Saraswati Thakur considered everything in connection with the Mat, Radharani being major domo, in charge of all the domestic affairs of Krishna. So purchasing, going to the market, buying the boga, whatever it might be, this is Radha Dasam. He's eager to do that. He didn't think, oh, this lecture I'm giving, this is that higher thing, and then they're disturbing me with these trivial things. No, we can make a case that maybe in response to what was being said, this opportunity is coming. So he's very eager for the least service, showing how he embodies Raghunath Das Goswami's decisions and determination. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is the living Bhav Murti of Das Goswami, eager for that type of service. So everyone in this line should move in the same way. Be happy. We saw in Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj, once he understands something is service to Guru Maharaj, he's eager for that. If it's cleaning the toilets and the mud, he's done it and he's ready to do it again. As far as he's concerned, it's service to Guru Maharaj. It's being in connection with that higher plane. He's not repulsed by whatever it might appear to be objectively. His ego is not bruised by that, or his prestige. Right? Like Lokanath Goswami, Narottam Thakur and Lokanath Goswami, Ishwara Puri and Madhavendra Puri, Swahaste Marjan, right? Ashram Maharaj and Gurudev in the final time, and others. But so they're saying that's the the test. See, do you see the connection with the upper world and the service plane, or are you seeing something that is materially, objectively, or relatively speaking, objectionable? Right? Therefore, beneath me, or a blow to my ego, my self-assertion. Right? So the great devotees, the least aspect of service. They're hanging for Radha Mukunda Parasambhama Garba Bendo Nirmanchano Pakurani Kritadeho Laksham Utunga Sohrida Vishesha Vishat Pragalbam Devim Gunai Sulalitam Lalitam Namami. And Srup Damodar's other self, Lalita Saki, showing that Deho Laksham, ready to take on a lack of bodies, 100,000 forms to serve, to make sure not the least disturbance will enter that plane. That's real devotion. Hari Pada Nakakoti Prishta Parjanta Simha Tatamapi Kalayantim Pranera Bhistadoham. Utungas, no, Pramudita Madhurakshi Vaidagdadika Guru Mapi Guru Kirtim Radhikam Archayami. And Rupa Goswami's other prayer to Radharani saying, Hari Paranaka Koti Prishta Parjanta Simha. How do we measure things? Why are the devotees always saying, one of the reasons why they're always talking, the lotus feet, to approach the lotus feet. They're Angani Yasya Sakalendriya, they can do everything. Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sadapasya. They're like the sun in the sky illuminating everything. But another way is that it's the least. Right? So that's the humble, to approach at the lotus feet. Why does Kunti say, Namak Pankajanabhaya, Namak Pankajanamaline, Namak Pankajanetraya, Namaste Panchajangrahe. She mentions the lotus feet last because she's the auntie. She doesn't want to embarrass Krishna. She's supposed to be in a higher position socially. So for him, not for her, for him, she's saying, Namak Pankajanabhaya. She said, I give my obeisances to your lotus navel. Right? Then Namak Pankajamalini, and the garland, she's going upward. Namak Pankajanetraya, to your lotus eyes. And she said, Namaste Pankajangrahe, Angrai, the lotus feet. She does last. But normally, it's considered the least. But in this sloka glorifying Radharani, Rupa Goswami says, Hari Pada means the lotus feet of Hari. Hari Pada Naka Koti Prishta Parjanta. He's saying, but if you wanted to go to and make an extreme statement, which he does because he's dealing with the extreme devotion of Srimati Radharani, there's no one more extreme. So then what would be, of the lotus feet, the least aspect would be the nails on the toes of the lotus feet. So he says, she considers the least aspect of Krishna, the nails on the lotus feet of Krishna, to be of infinitely more valuable in magnitude than her own life multiplied millions of times. That's the way she sees things. It's not poetry. It's not posturing. She believes that. We can believe that Srimati Radharani, we can say, well, I can't fathom this, but we can at least believe that she believes. Like, take Rupa Goswami's word for it, that she actually sees like this. That the least aspect of Krishna is more valuable than her own most valuable aspect, her life magnified millions of times. That's the way to begin to see the infinite. Who Govind said, Krishna, he's the infinite who sleeps on a bed of infinite. Right? It's not that he's just like the infinite. His bed is infinite. When Mahaprabhu, they're doing the water sports pastimes at Rath Yatra, and he tells, Sarvabhauma and Rama, they're supposed to be very grave and stop playing like this, and they're This is not a good example for everyone. The devotees are splashing in water and playing around. These big, grave scholars. And Gopinath Acharya says, Vishwam Purna, Vishwam Gaura was saying, you've inundated the world, world with rasa and prem and Meru, Sumeru, and the Mandar Mountain. They're drowned, and these, who are they? They're like little hills. So if they're playing in this, but anyway, after Mahaprabhu says that, he's telling everyone to get serious and stop playing around so much. Then what does he do? He has Advaita Acharya become Sheshai Vishnu, and Mahaprabhu floats on Advaita Acharya around the pond. But he's telling everyone else to get serious. But anyway, so her vision of Krishna, and it's consistent with all the great devotees. With her Lieutenant Lalita Sakhi, same thing. And in the line of Saraswati Thakur and all the great devotees. They're ready to give themselves fully to whatever service necessity is there that's descending from Guru and Vaishnava. They throw themselves into that happily. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, whatever burden, if you want to use that word, or inconvenience, whatever trouble might come, he said, that's a joy to me. Like they have the expression, a labor of love. Whatever labor is involved with that, I'm very happy to get that. So, it's very appropriate to quote this sloka at the time of initiation, because it's, in a sense, announcing all the inconceivable wealth that's coming to that aspiring servitor and this recognition of their sincerity. And these are all the things that are being extended to them in a real and substantial way. Namashrestamapi Satchiputratva Swarupam Rupam Tasyagraja Madhupurim Matrim Gostavatim. Oh, and the cows. I saw the cows today up on that road. And they're so gentle. They saw me, I realized maybe they were afraid, so I hid on the side, and then one of the cows told all the other cows, it's okay, we can go. And then they all went. And even there was no cowherd person. They all knew where they were going. There was a couple of them looking after the other ones. The cows were herding the cows. And there was some bulls, some cows, some baby cows. But they all went together in a certain way. Matrim Gostavatim, Radha Kundam Giri Baramaho, Radhika Madhavasam Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya, Sri Gurun Tanmatosmi. And once Guru Maharaj was quoting this sloka, he said, does Raghunath Das Goswami know what ISKCON is? Here in this sloka, is this ISKCON? Of course, it must be. It's Krishna consciousness condensed. Everything can spring out of that sloka. So it's so wonderful. It's favorite to everyone in this line. Gurudev liked it very much and often had them recite it at the time of Harinam initiations. Yes.
Narina Nayana Devi Dasi from China, and Rasheshwari Didi and all the devotees from Ivoti, Brazil, sending their dandavats, and Kiev devotees as well.
To Brazil, China, Kiev,
one question from Izhevsk devotees.
Izhevsk.
Yes, and friends. I understand that Krishna doesn't want to make anyone love him forcefully and that the soul should have free will. But why don't he show us that it's better to choose spiritual world than material? Because such understanding comes just by the grace.
Well, you know, it's like Guru Maharaj gave some examples, but one is like, you have to think of free will this way, like taste. So you can taste bitter, sweet, sour, pungent. What are the other tastes? Salty. They're all there, right? But if you couldn't taste, then you know, you say, well, you know, we like to taste sweet things, but not only, we like to taste many things. And bitter has a certain appreciation too. And sometimes bitter can enhance everything that you taste afterwards. Sweet, sour, salty, etc. So it's something like that, you know. So again, when these kind of questions come, I know they don't mean it, but it's like, it's indirectly casting blame on Krishna. Like, you did this, Krishna, you didn't show us how horrible these things were, so we would, you know, that would be unfair in a sense. And also, I don't think it's an entirely legitimate question, because I'll say this. Now you supposedly, now we know something about Krishna consciousness and what suffering is in the material world. Did that put an end to bad choices? Do we go, oh, now that I know, I never choose the wrong thing? No. So we can see now, we know something about Krishna consciousness, something about the world, and still we're seduced by Maya. So, you know, and what do you say? Oh, then we say, well, Krishna should make the punishment worse. That we should, by this logic, we should think. We should suffer more. And devotees do, real devotees. They think, I'm just getting, you know, my wrist slapped. It should be something heavier to like shake me out of this illusion. So there are many different ways of looking at it. But people who are curious about hard drugs, they can see on the internet pictures of people who do these things, what they end up looking like. And they can hear so many stories about it and see all types of information and everything. And still, again, this is also dealt with in the Bhagavatam. Where does it say? Yeah. Prayishchittam partam manye kunjara sochavat. Parika in the 6th canto, he's asking about sinning and atoning. And I just saw this about the manye kunjara sochavat, means the cleansing of an elephant. And you see elephants, they bathe, and they're completely bathed. And then when they come out of the water with their trunk, they take dirt and throw it all over themselves again. Like right after their bath, they throw dirt all over their body again. That's what he said. It seems like that. Sinning, atoning, sinning, atoning, sinning, atoning, bhog tyag. So it all has to be there. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, if fire, as I've quoted this poem where it says, by fire shall hearts be proven, lest virtue's gold grow dim. The fire comes to purify the gold, right? To remove the impurities. So you can say, the fire of material existence removes the impurities, brings the soul at some point to pure stage, then reflecting on that, we won't see it as something entirely undesirable. When we're in the throes of mundane suffering, of course, we're going to object. But Kunti, adversity, she's interpreting adversity in a good way. He's saying, when things are really adverse, I'm more Krishna conscious, thoughtful about Krishna, and have a greater necessity to take shelter. Vipaдаkshantu tat shashvat tatra tatra jagadguru bhavato darshanam yatshad apunar bhavadarshanam. So, really, and we can see what kind of ego we're dealing with. In the midst of so much suffering, people will not give up a mundane life. Like the joke where they say, life, it's full of suffering, and it's so short. Like the ladies are saying, the food was so bad, and one says, and the portions were so small. So, what did Freud say? He'd say, oh, are you trying to cure people with your psychoanalysis to make, unhappy people happy? He said, no, I'm trying to convert neurotic suffering into ordinary suffering. So, it's a question of how to interpret all of this. Guru Maharaj is saying, acquire the proper angle of vision. The highest level of devotee, you see, everything is perfect. Tattenu kampam susamikshamano. Seeing the friendly hand of Krishna behind everything. Right? Narayana paraksarve nakutasthana bibhyati svarg apavarg narakeshu tulyartha darshinaha chitraketu. It's not thinking hellish, heavenly, suffering. It's just thinking how to maintain connection with the Vaishnavas and Vaishnava Seva, Krishna consciousness. Not complaining about the lot that we've drawn, which karma nivarikaraste ma paleshu kadachana. And elsewhere in the Gita, Guru Maharaj says, Krishna is not responsible for the situation you're in. We are. Right? Why did you give me free will that I could choose the wrong thing? Guru Maharaj gave that example of Gandhi when the British said to the Indians, you're not ready for independence. You may misuse it and make the wrong, bad choices. And Gandhi said to them, freedom means the right to do wrong. I know if there were any children listening, they're going to quote me to their parents. Goswami Maharaj said, freedom means the right to do wrong. If they were smart, they would say that. But that's what he said. It means the right to do wrong. If you eliminate that possibility, there's not real free will. So it's, of course, it's from our present position, it's difficult to conceive. That's why I give this example, that right now, in your present position, knowing something about Krishna consciousness and knowing something about the mundane, we still choose the mundane. So if we can still do that now, why is it too hard to grasp, get our heads around the idea that at the inception, there was some similar version of that? Choice. And what is the choice based upon? Prospect fulfillment. The satanic mania, serve in heaven, reign in hell. There used to be this show on American TV called Queen for a Day. This was a horrible show because what they did, they had these 3 women on, and each one tells a hard luck story. Where you're just you want to cry. Her life is that bad. Then they make her queen for a day. But it's not like a beauty thing. It's who has the most heartbreaking, just terrible, pathetic story, they'll make her queen for a day. You know what? I don't know who thought this up. And later I met one devotee and she goes, my mom won. And I was going, oh my God, you know. Said her mom was on the show and won. But that's like queen for a day, king for a day. We like that better than, eternal servant. It doesn't sound good. Servant of the servant of the servant. Guru Maharaj says, slave of the slave of this. Ooh, that doesn't sound inviting. We like the king, queen thing, like New Age people, whenever they deal with reincarnation, they're always a queen in some former life. They don't recall being a stool-eating pig somewhere, but they do recall being a queen and then something happened, and that's okay too. Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punar Avartuna. You can be Brahma. It doesn't matter. That won't save you. So what does Bhaktivinoda say? Better to be an insect in the house of a devotee, or here. Thank you. Better to be, a ticky, or a tokai, or, in Gupta Govardhan. Now, Krishna is infinitely merciful. That's why, He's inconceivably beautiful, is past everything, but vimrisheta desheshena yatejtasi tatakuru. Arjun, consider the case I make, and then do what you want to do. It's not, but if you read earlier, he said, actually you're going to do it anyway. It's already done. But that's because he's Arjun. But in the end, he's saying, consider the case I made, and do what you wish to do. We're depriving Krishna of our love and affection, and that's the sad, sorry state of affairs. The only thing we have that's worth offering, we deprive him of. But we're praying that Radhika Madhava, our aspiration, and by the mercy of Sri Guru, that if we can be reconfigured into aspiring servitors, and by the grace of our Guru Varga, through service and association, develop a little affection, love and affection for Krishna and his devotees. By the grace of Sri Guru Gauranga Radha Madhava Sundar. But Krishna is not to blame for this. Krishna is fair. Sangmoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshatina priya. He's equal to everyone. That's his general rule. But he can't help but favor his devotees. But his general rule is equal, treats everyone equally. There's nothing unfair going on. But if someone becomes a devotee, Krishna cannot resist reciprocating, it's just natural. Ahang bhakta paradino. And what was the other one? Hridayam bhakta hridayam aham. And being in the hearts of his devotees. So devotion is irresistible. Then it's no longer neutral. So, by the grace of our Guru Varga, this connection is being extended to us. We're in a fortunate position if we can just coax our free will and to move a little bit in the right direction by their grace. Hare Krishna.